Before we get started with this course, I want to mention one thing: adapt or die. So this universal law from Charles Darwin has probably never been so accurate like now, because technology and especially AI is moving at such a fast pace that you can essentially become obsolete if you don't keep up with this technology, and if you don't learn how to leverage this technology to create value for other people and to create value for yourself. And I've been an AI developer for 1.5 years now, and I have a company called Web3D Systems where I implement AI solutions to companies. And I've studied this technology for hundreds of hours, and I can tell you with confidence, most likely AI agents will be the biggest trend in 2024 in the AI industry. So I highly advise you to be concentrated and listen to what I will share with you today. And if you want to have more in-depth resources, this is my school community, which you can join. And there I will cover a lot of other things like building out automations, building out chatbots, having automated outreach systems. So if you want, you can join the community. And yeah, with this said, enjoy the webinar, and yeah, see you in the community. Let's look at the agenda for today's webinar. And in the beginning, we will cover the dry part, the fundamentals, but I think it's really important that we first have a deep understanding, or just a basic understanding what happens with AI agents under the hood. So to be a bit more technical in that sense, and what kind of types of AI agents are out there, and then a high level overview of the architecture and what kind of tools are already out there so that we can build out AI agents with code or without code. If you're not that technical, there's really a platform for everyone out there. Then what kind of business use cases are already out there which can be solved with AI agents? And I will also help you how you can identify them and give you a framework how you can essentially navigate this space and either act as a consultant for a company or act as your own consultant for your own company, or wherever you want to apply this skill. And then I will give you a brief overview of the implementation, how you can essentially prepare yourself to build out AI agents, and then which platform you should choose, and then a high level development process. So let's cover the fundamentals and let's get the boring stuff first out of the way. But I think it's actually quite interesting because we are now at a time where these large language models such as ChatGPT, they get really smart and they can now actually act on themselves. So they can make decisions, they can plan, and they can execute tasks on the internet. So you can really think about it as having a virtual assistant who fulfills low-level tasks for you. And here are 3 characteristics of AI agents. And the first one is definitely that they have the functionality to act on themselves without a human interfering. This is actually also quite creepy in my opinion, because a lot of things can go wrong with this. But at the end, it's definitely an advancement in our working society. The second characteristic is that it learns from experience. So based on their failures or their successes, they adjust their behavior as agents. And the more and the longer they're deployed, the better they get. So this is really where compound interest comes into play. And we can definitely see this exponential growth in the AI space, which is already happening at a really significant pace. And the next one is it can make independent choices based on data and the objectives that it has been given. So this is quite clear from the other ones above already. And AutoGPT is more or less the father of AI agents, even though the concept of agents has been out there quite some time. AutoGPT really has revolutionized this whole space, and it has been released in March 2023, so over a year ago already. But it has already made so many progress in so many areas. And you can, from a technical standpoint, it's built on top of GPT-4. And you can imagine it as having 3 different GPT-4s interacting with each other. So let me give you an example. You, as the person, give the AutoGPT or the AI agent a prompt. And let's make the example of create me a LinkedIn strategy and post every day for me. This could be a task I give an agent. And this first agent defines the tasks and actually the sub prompts. So this agent first understands what kind of tasks you have given him. And based on this, it will prompt itself. So in this case, it would say, first prompt is make a marketing strategy for LinkedIn. The second prompt is make a research on trends about this topic. The third prompt would be, based on these trends, write me the posts. And based on these posts, post them on LinkedIn every day. So this is a high level overview or a potential way how this agent could behave. And these tasks and sub prompts will be essentially sent to an execution agent. And this agent actually executes these tasks for you. And it does this by having access to the internet and also access to the platforms you need. In our case, it would be LinkedIn. So you would give this agent access to LinkedIn so that it can post for you, and access to the internet so it can make web research and stuff like, everything that it essentially needs. And once it has done these actions, it tells the evaluation agent that it has been done. And this agent evaluates if the goal has been completed. If yes, it will send a response to the user. So in our case, you. If not, it will go back and actually revise this whole process again until it's finished. And I hope this gave you a brief overview of AI agents and how they work. This is just one kind of AI agent. There are different concepts out there, but just that you have an overview of one architecture which can be deployed. And I'm sure a lot of you already have heard about Devin. Devin is essentially an AI agent who has access to a code editor, a terminal, and the web. And we understand the implications which this has for us also as software developers, if there's one out there in the chat here. It definitely revolutionizes the way we build software. It makes it much more accessible. It makes it much more faster. And the way it's just, in my opinion, really insane. But I would say, let's go to the next platform, which is OpenAI. Obviously, they're also working on AI agents. And I would say GPTs and the Assistant API, if you're familiar with this, is for me the pre-version of AI agents. They're not really that good yet, but there has been leaks that they're building out an AI agents that has access to the web, or better said, to your screen, and it can navigate the screen by moving the cursor, clicking, and writing exactly how we navigate the browser. And the way it works is, again, we will give it a goal, and based on this, it will write sub-prompts for itself. So if you say, send an email to X, let's say to John, about the sales report, it will it will prompt itself to write an email. It will go to the Gmail, it will click new email, it will find the email address of John, it will type the response, and it will click send. And this is a completely new way how autonomous AI agents interact with the web, and in that sense are really, really autonomous. And the way this works is the agent has access to the HTML code, so essentially just the way the website is structured, and it has access to the vision, meaning it can have screenshot of the website, and based on the screenshot, it can locate where it needs to click or where it needs to type something in. And this is a really new concept which OpenAI will release quite soon based on some rumors. So don't quote me on this here, because this is, of course, just rumors. But if you look at the trends and the developments, this is very likely to happen quite soon. And now let's talk about the types of AI agents, because they're not just one out there, there are actually multiple ones. And these are just the ones which are currently already found out or already developed. I'm sure there will be a lot of different ones too in the future. So the first one is, it can have an agent which reflects upon its own actions. And based on its past actions, it makes better decisions for future actions. And the second type is tool use. So an agent who can actually use your internal tools and apps which you use on a daily basis. I will actually show you an example of this with Zapier Central later on. And then we have agents who can plan. So it will be an iterative planning process where the agent, or better said, multiple agents interact with each other. So we could give it an objective, like before, create a LinkedIn strategy. And then this objective will be sent to one agent and it will create a plan for it. And this plan will be sent to another agent, which re-evaluates this plan and tries to improve it. And this can be sent to another AI agents, which rethinks this plan to have more and more depth into this planning. And this is essentially multi-agent collaboration. So you can see these types of agents also really interconnect with each other. And this actually reminds me a lot of the cognitive revolution we went through as humans. So 70 to 30,000 years ago, we humans became the most dominant species on this planet by evolving our brains, or it just happened naturally by evolution, that we were able to communicate through complex language. So not just oh, there's a danger, or oh, there's food, which was quite a primitive way to communicate back then. We essentially developed language within our brain. And this allowed us to collaborate and work in larger groups. And in that sense, solve much more complex problems. And this led to actually having multi-billion dollar companies like Apple and Microsoft and OpenAI, where a lot of people come together and stick their brains together and collaborate and build things together. And a similar thing happens actually with AI systems at the moment and AI models. So it all actually, it started way before, but this is just the point I thought is relevant, where the OpenAI playground was out. Somebody of you already witnessed this or followed this, where you could just ask one question or give one instruction and you just got one answer. So there was no conversation, it was just input and output. So it was very limited. But then ChatGPT came along and we could have conversations. So it was already a more sophisticated way to communicate, just like before. And then now what is happening right now is collaboration through AutoGPTs, where you can say that multiple ChatGPTs collaborate with each other, communicate with each other, and work on problems together to find the best solution. And the question is, what is next? What will happen soon? And I think the doors are wide open for a lot of great things to happen, but also, of course, risks, which shouldn't be understated. And to give you a brief overview about the AI agents tool landscape, of course, this is biased by my opinion and my experience, but I can definitely say with confidence, these are great tools to get started and also great frameworks if you're already a bit more advanced. So if you are a developer and are able to write Python code, I would definitely recommend to use LangChain. And it is just the most sophisticated place to build out AI applications, or better said, the most well-developed framework for AI developers. But if you're slightly technical, you can also go with platforms like VoiceFlow and Relevance AI. And if you're a no-coder, which is also great, I will show you an example of Zapier, which is connected with OpenAI. Then you can also build out very, very nice workflows with AI agents without any code in a couple of minutes. So it's actually really insane what kind of power we already have at our hands. So let me give you a brief guide on how you can identify opportunities for yourself or for your company or for the companies you work with. And it usually all starts with an AI readiness assessment. So there you really want to observe and understand what is the current state of the company. What is their data infrastructure? So if you're not familiar with AI readiness assessment, just Google it. It's a great way how you can identify where you have potentials to implement AI and how ready your company or organization is to onboard this new technology. Then you do business process mapping. What this means is you essentially look at all your business processes and you try to visualize them in a flowchart so that you get a deep understanding of what kind of processes you have in your business. And this is really important to see what kind of AI agents you can deploy. And like this, you identify repeating digital processes. So as soon as as soon as a process is digital and it gets repeated and it has a lot of text involved, there your bell should ring and you should think, I could maybe implement the AI agent into my business. So this is a brief framework you can apply to identify AI agent opportunities within your organization. And to put this into more simple terms, just automate it if it's highly impactful and it takes a lot of time, then this is the sweet spot where you want to automate things. So now let's talk about a couple of use cases where you can also, or better said, where I've already developed and deployed AI agents. And I'm sadly not able to name the company, but it is a nurse staffing platform. And essentially it works like this. A facility searches for part-time nurses. And the way it works is that the facility texts via SMS and asks the platform, hey, do you currently have nurses available in this area? And then what the AI agent does, so it first, of course, receives this answer, and I've built this out with VoiceFlow. And the AI agent first looks in the database of all the nurses which are in the database, essentially, and looks if one of them is available. And based on this, if it sees there's a few available, it will send these results to ChatGPT and it will generate the answer and send it to the facility and tell them, hey, these nurses are available. Do you want me to contact them? And if they agree, the AI agent will actually contact these people via email. So it will autonomously send out an email to the nurses and ask, are you able to work at this time? So in my opinion, this is already an extremely interesting use case where AI agents are already able to make a huge contribution. And here's another very interesting use case that has been popping off very recently, which are conversational voice AI agents. So these can be used for inbound and outbound AI calls. So let me give you a brief introduction to SenseFlow AI. So as you can see, there's already so many opportunities how you can leverage AI agents. And in my opinion, this is the most sophisticated one, but also the most creepy one, because of course, with deepfakes and voice cloning, there can be a lot of issues with this. But for inbound and outbound calls, you can definitely already leverage AI voice agents. But the only problem I've witnessed with these ones is that the delay between the answers is quite long. So it takes sometimes up to 4 seconds until they answer. So there's definitely a lot of improvement for these applications to be done, but it is just a very interesting use case to see how far we are already along the journey. So let's talk about what kind of preparations you and your organization can make essentially to be ready for this AI agents revolution. And first of all, we have talked about this section already, but you first want to check how ready is your organization. So it's not just about the technical capabilities of your team and not just about the data infrastructure. It's also about culture. So you also need to evaluate if your team spirit and the culture of your organization is adaptable or it is more lethargic. And then again, business process mapping. So try to identify every process you have in your business and try to identify the highest leverage tasks which you can automate using AI agents. So these are usually repeated digital processes. And based on this, you want to focus on one area, as mentioned before, the area which has the highest leverage. And you want to build out a strategy which is sustainable for the future. Because I can tell you, the platform will most likely change over the upcoming years because this industry is just moving so fast. But what will be constant is your data. And with data, I mean the prompts you will use for these AI agents and the files you will upload into these AI agents as knowledge. So this is the foundation which should be really strong. So really think about what kind of data sets will be valuable for my AI agent. And then switching platforms won't be that big of an issue. And then Start small, start with an MVP, meaning a minimum viable product, and test and iterate as fast as possible. Because as mentioned before, the platforms, they will change, and most likely also the models, the foundation models will change. So everything are quite dynamic variables, which you need to try to find constances so that you can adapt as fast as possible. And I just want to give you a very simple and easy way how you can get started with AI agents so that this webinar is also as actionable as possible. And with Zapier Central, you can essentially connect all your apps you're using on a daily basis. Could be your project management tool. They're giving an example of Trello, your Google Sheets or your Excel files, Slack, Gmail, Asana, whatever tool you're using. You can connect this to an AI, and it is very easy to learn. I will share my screen here really quickly. Share this tab instead. Exactly. I hope you see it. I won't ask if you see it. I just assume it has worked. But I've actually built out an agency bot. It is just a prototype I whipped up 10 minutes before this call, so you see what is already possible. And it is connected to my Notion, to my Stripe, to my Slack, to my Google Calendar, to my CRM. And essentially, it's just a way how I can operate my agency and generate reports. And I can essentially ask it, what are my tasks in my project management? And it will spit them out for me. So it will tell me these are my tasks. Maybe I shouldn't show this due to confidentiality, but I'm sure I trust all of you here in the call. So it shouldn't be an issue. So let me hop back to the presentation. And let's have a quick future outlook and understand where this space is heading. And most likely this will happen next month because the pace of this industry is just so fast. But what we're already seeing, but I believe will be much, much more present, will be multi-agent collaboration, so that you have these agents which are already very powerful collaborate with each other. And these agents will most likely be governed by a meta agent. So similar to having hierarchies in organizations, we will have hierarchies within agents. So I think this is also a very interesting way how we can evaluate the effectiveness of organizational structures. So I'm sure we will also gain insights if it makes sense to have a flat hierarchy or a very steep hierarchy. So these are very interesting questions which arise with these AI agents. Then, which I've mentioned before with OpenAI, I think it will be interesting to see agents who are actually navigating the browser, not just interacting with apps by being encoded. So usually the way it works is that agents need to have access to the API. I hope you're familiar with the API. It's for those who are not, it's essentially the way how apps communicate with each other. They send data and retrieve data from each other via the API. And currently, the agents need to have access to the API in order to fulfill actions. But soon, I believe the agents will just be able to navigate the browser just as we are doing. So an example would be, just as I'm moving my cursor here, and just as I'm clicking my cursor, the agent will be able to do the same thing. It will be able to navigate the browser. And this will be future very important for multi-step autonomous actions. And I believe this is actually quite soon because we already have laid the foundational groundwork for it. But of course, in the beginning, it won't be that accessible for everybody. It will be mainly for developers who are able to understand the code behind it. So to finish this off, just in case if you is interested in some kind of a AI agent, of course you can contact me, but also there no pressure. We do the AI readiness and check for free because we believe the implementation should drive the value, not the consultation. So we usually do the consultation for free and then try to identify a strategy and based on this prototype. And then once we have a good business case, which delivers a return on investment, essentially, then we will develop a more sophisticated AI agent.